We welcome you to Salem, Virginia, the city of champions. 6 days remain in the 2022 Division III softball season. 8 teams still in contention to be crowned national champions. Great to have you with us here on day one. It is the first of 4 games scheduled for this opening day, where we will see all 8 teams still in contention. A great turnout. Thrilled to have you along with us here on NCAA.com. Lincoln Rose, along with former University of Houston Cougar and Sydney Gearbracht. And Sydney, again, for all these athletes, it has been a special postseason, whether it be high drama or smooth sailing. Each has had their own different path here, but we do know this. Come next week, 6 days from now, we will be crowning the best of the best in Division III.
That's right, Lincoln, and excited to see what this weekend has in store for us. Getting to witness history in the making, honoring the hard work and contributions these athletes have made, both in the world and for their respective programs, and excited to be here.
It's the Engineers out of WPI against the captains of CNU. WPI competing in the NEWMAC, CNU out of the second-year-old or the 2-year-old conference coast to coast. In fact, the coast to coast conference has 2 of the 8 teams still competing, Salisbury being the other. We are back at Moyer Sports Complex, second straight year. Of course, over the years, Division III and Division II, no shortage of championship memories have been made on this very field. As we'll introduce you to our athletes throughout the way, as in the circle it is Kate Alger, the freshman standout from Stanton right here in Virginia, just about a 4-hour drive from the campus of CNU up there at Newport News here in the Commonwealth. Of course, last year's national champion from right here in Virginia, and Virginia Wesleyan. They knocked off the defending national champs last week in the Super Regional with a sweep, 3-2 and a 5-2 9-inning affair. For WPI, a little bit tougher path here. We'll get you caught up on that, but leading things off for the Engineers, it is Sydney Russell. As this the first ever appearance at the softball championship for WPI. For the captains, it is their first time back since they were national runner-up in 2011. I'm told despite all the extra years the NCAA awarded due to COVID, none of these players were on that 2011 roster.
Excited to see what Alger has in store for us. One of 2 freshman pitchers for the captains this year. Right-handed pitcher, a precision pitcher, going to hit their spots, going to make sure that she's using her defense, but more of the strikeout pitcher of the 2 between Martin and Alger, these 2 freshmen on this team.
Russell fights that one foul as the count 2-1. The infield around Alger, the third baseman, Brooke Griever, Natalie Carmichael at short, Maddie Houle at second, Caitlin Hasty, who just scooped that one up in foul territory over at first. Bailey Roberts completes the battery with Alger behind home plate. The outfield from left to right, Abernathy, Proctor, and Curran. As the count will level up, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Sydney Russell, your center fielder for WPI. Russell out of Arlington here in Virginia, the sophomore. A .333 hitter coming into this final week. And takes the final strike looking as Kate Alger has her first strikeout here in Salem.
Beautiful off speed there from Alger. Trusting their spots and changing it up a little bit. Strike. And does a really good job of keeping their pitch, their windup consistent. Just happens to fool our leadoff.
That'll bring up Alex Sheehan, who yesterday celebrated her 21st birthday, looking to celebrate at the end of this week, perhaps with her teammates, a national championship. Massachusetts native, a .301 hitter. Been a regular in this lineup, as this is a WPI team that fortunately their players have stayed healthy. They have had exactly 13 healthy players basically from start to finish this year. That is 9 in the lineup, a couple of pitchers and a couple of freshmen who have been pinch runners and pinch hitters when called upon. But they have found a way to make it all the way here to the championship stage. Last week in the Super Regionals, there's virtually no drama. Teams who won the first game won the second game. The exception was for these Engineers against perennial power Tufts. They dropped the first game That was a run rule loss, 9-0. WPI went on to be the only team last weekend to win after losing the first game, and not just win, but even force a third game. Every other series was a sweep, but Kate Alger right now has started to settle in.
And like I shared at the beginning of our broadcast, Alger is going to be known for precision pitches, right? So she's going to be using the extra pitches in the count to set up some really beautiful off speed and work the corners.
Here's the New Hampshire native, Alicia Salvalzo, the junior, as each of her teammates so far has struck out looking. A couple of strikeout victims for Alger with nobody on and 2 away. Salvalzo's had several highlight moments this year, go-ahead base hits, some game-winning hits. Hoping for a few more memories this week. As our opening game, WPI and CNU. CNU this year, 42 wins and 1 loss. So again, a double elimination tournament this week. CNU would have to do something they hadn't done all year to be denied a national champion, and that is lose twice.
They're coming in with 1 loss on the year. Incredible. Over 40-win season. Many of the teams here over a 40-win season.
Ball pulled down the line by Salvalzo. Just an incredible year for the captains who come in on a 19-game win streak. They're hoping to stretch that closer to 24 games if they can avoid any blemishes this week. Again, it's 8 teams, double elimination until we are down to our final 2 teams. Then we will wipe their slates clean and have a best-of-3 game series. Last year, Virginia Wesleyan and Texas Lutheran, then the defending champs, went the full 3, with Virginia Wesleyan capturing the final game to claim the crown. Unable to defend their title here in Salem this year because of their in-state foe, CNU. 3 strikeouts for Kate Alger to get us started. Can CNU's bats follow the high standards? Kate Martin, one of several student athletes who already have a degree in their back pocket, looking for a national champion this week. First team all-conference in the NEWMAC this year in the circle. Last weekend, in that comeback effort against Tufts, she was your most outstanding player, your most outstanding pitcher. She went on this year to be second team all-region. She has pitched 70 of the 71 innings this postseason, we mentioned, for a team that only has 13 healthy players.
Well, and you really have to use the players that you have on your squad. And unfortunately, the Engineers just don't have the depth of bench that many of these programs do coming into this week. And Martin has done an incredible job thus far.
A great turnout today, as again, the NCAA always does a wonderful job, along with these student athletes, reaching out to the communities that are hosting the championships. All of these women did some community service during the week upon arriving here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. As CNU leading things off, it is Caitlin Abernathy. WPI went in order in the top half of the first. Abernathy, that's the first batted ball into play, as it's scooped up by Kelly Pritchard for out number 1.
Martin making quick work. Nice inside pitch. And on the hands. Easy play.
So Pritchard at first. Teammate Shayna Lazarus is your third baseman. In between, Lindsay Ambrosino at short and Alicia Salvalzo at second. Your outfielders are Sheehan, Russell, and Case from left to right. Jocelyn Diaz completes the battery with Kate Martin. And again, in case for some reason you're just now joining us, Martin has thrown 70 of the 71 innings this postseason for WPI as they punch their ticket to the championship this week. And it's just incredible. Every player's been asked to basically play at the best of their ability to make this possible with 13 of them. This is Bailey Roberts at the plate, the senior out of Chesapeake, Virginia, hitting a modest .354 on the year. See if she can get things started here with 1 out and a 1-2 count. Home plate umpires Leslie Anderson here in our first game of the day. Stacy Stobo at first, and it is Joe Havenhill over at third. Right around 60 degrees here. Today's going to be a pretty pleasant day. There's a chance of rain later on this evening, but we are in the mid-60s. We may briefly touch 70 degrees, but nothing higher. One out, nobody on as this ball fought foul. All 8 teams will make their appearance today here on this diamond at Moyer Sports Complex. They always do such a great job here in Salem for the student athletes. And a big cut, and first strikeout for Katie Martin, out number 2.
And we're seeing Katie Martin do a really great job of using both sides of the plate, using off speed. Works the upper and outer part of the zone. Didn't get that pitch called earlier in the count. Able to get a swing and a miss for strike 3.
That's going to bring up the second of the 3 All-Americans for CNU this year, and Caitlin Hasty. Hasty also out at Chesapeake, hitting .426 on the year with 18 home runs. A starter in the lineup, no doubt, every single game this year. Now her 44th contest. And she'll lay off that pitch on the outside, and I think Katie Martin has the scouting report on her, is aware of those 18 long balls.
Yes, it looks like Martin's trying to keep it as far away as possible on the outside corner.
And that is a 4-pitch walk with 2 outs and nobody on. First base runner of the day belongs to CNU. The captains with Hasty, the All-American, on. Hasty on the base paths has only attempted 2 stolen bases, 1 for 2 this year, as Katie Curran comes to the plate. Curran, the sophomore from up the road in Blacksburg, out of the backyard of Virginia Tech. And they are going to run for Hasty. So Jules Donnelly will come on, sophomore out of Perry Hall, Maryland. Saw her last weekend in the Super Regional as a pinch runner as well. See if CNU can get a 2-out rally going here in the first inning. Capture an opening advantage. And they swept Virginia Wesleyan, the national champions, last weekend. Have not lost a game this postseason, dating back to the conference tournament against Salisbury. And Salisbury, of course, is here. And when you bring in a pinch runner, don't waste any time, as Donnelly into scoring position now. She got there, we promise. As ball fought foul by Katie Curran. We were hoping Sydney was going to break down that key split second. It does remind us we do have a replay available here in the championship in Division III, just like you have seen throughout Division I. It'll be from a centralized location. Division I, of course, conference to conference, it varied whether it was umpires on site looking at monitors or whether you're like the SEC, who had it back in Birmingham. The NCAA tournament overall this year in Division I has had it from a centralized site. And we're seeing that in D2 in Denver this week, as well as D3 here in Salem as well. So runner in scoring position is Donnelly. Curran at the plate with a 1-2 count to her name.
Well, and you're seeing really why Coach Parr has led this team to 42 wins. Seeing aggressive base running, aggressive at-bats from the captains so far.
And another souvenir shot foul. Again, Curran, a .416 hitter, 9 home runs on the year, 30 RBI. As first good look at her head coach, Keith Parr, a 1999 graduate of CNU. Ball shot up the middle. The shortstop, Ambrosino, able to get it there in time. So CNU with the first base runner of the day. but the first runner left on as well. Through one inning of the opening game here in Salem, we are scoreless. Heading to the second here on NCAA.com. Technically still Thursday morning here in Salem, Virginia, as the kids have come out. As no doubt to root on some of their newest favorite athletes. Mentioned all these student athletes went into the community over the past 24 hours, made some new friends, some new fans. Jocelyn Diaz will lead things off, the sophomore for WPI, hitting .272 on the year. As Kate Alger in the circle hasn't been in the giving mood. She has struck out 3 so far.
Well, and impressive to see the composure so early on from the freshmen. There's 2 freshmen that have dominated the innings thus far for the captains. And Alger, precise with her pitches, has introduced some off-speed early, made quick work of the engineers in inning 1. I'm sure they're hoping for quick work throughout this competition.
So again, Diaz saw 3 of her teammates strike out. We'll see if she gleaned anything from those at-bats. For WPI, we mentioned they forced a 3rd game and prevailed in 3, but they were hitless through the first 5 innings of that must-win game against Tufts before breaking things open with 6 runs in the bottom of the 6th for the victory against the Jumbos. As Diaz just a little late on that one. From Reedley, California. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
I've got my Cali translator.
Oh, yes. Well, and what I love about Diaz is she's doing a great job of coming into the at-bat, knowing what she's looking for, and taking her hacks, right? Saw her first 3 teammates who did not take their opportunities, had a couple strikeouts looking, and Diaz is up there. Anything close, she's taking her hacks.
Not
big ones.
Not doing any favors there for Alger on that off-speed pitch.
Yep.
Looking to the dugout of WPI. This is a program that from 1995 to 2002 won a total of 26 games. And over the past 20 years, we've seen 4 head coaches, most recently Heather Ross in her first year, really transforming the expectations into a perennial NEWMAC powerhouse. A 2-2 fought foul. Heather Ross already with the 35 wins this year at WPI, the most victories for any first-year head coach. And oh, by the way, guides them to their first ever championship here in Salem. How dedicated is she? She missed her brother's wedding last weekend for the Super Regional. 2-2 shot to center is going to hang up there. That's Sarah Proctor patrolling the well-manicured outfield, and that's now 4 straight retired by the captains. That's the first ball batted into play. That's what we call progress.
Well, and a ball hit just into the glove of the captain's outfielder. Alger, again, relying not only on off-speed throughout these at-bats, but also relying on her defense to get the job done.
Brings up Callie Case, a sophomore from Phoenix. Again, she's one of only 3 players that returned to the program this year with any kind of playing experience. Back in the regional, defensively was able to rob Arcadia of a home run. Let's see what she can do with her bat here. Cannot lay off that one from Alger.
One of the things you got to be really cognizant of as a player is even if you're going to swing at a bad pitch, take that hack, right? Take the full swing just in case you get enough of it. Doesn't look like she's able to hold back completely on the off speed.
The 0-2 from Alger. And that's strikeout number 4 through 5 batters she has faced.
If I'm Case in that moment after taking that bit of a mid-swing on that second to last pitch, I might take an extra second as I'm stepping out of the box so that I can get my composure back know that if I'm seeing another changeup, I might need to sit on it a little bit too far forward, doesn't have her timing down. We'll have to make an adjustment next time around.
Shayna Lazarus, first pitch she sees, that's going to be a fair ball. Well played by Bailey Roberts, but just takes Alger one pitch to find that third out, as Alger has been perfect through 2 innings of work. As a couple of balls batted into play, but defense up to championship standards. Captains, your home team, your number 1 seed this week, back at the plate for the home half of the second.
The bottom half of the second inning for the Captains in the number 5 position in the order, third base, 32, Brooke Griever.
Home half of the second inning, Brooke Griever comes up to the plate, your third baseman for CNU. Lincoln Rose, Sydney Gearbracht with you here on NCAA.com. First of 4 games scheduled today. We'll have another quadruple header slated for tomorrow. Bright and early tomorrow morning, we will have 2 elimination games, as by the end of the second day, we will have trimmed the 8 teams down to 6. As we slowly will whittle things down over the next week to 2 teams for a best of 3 game series. Griever, the sophomore, out of Maryland, hitting .350 on the year with 8 home runs, 35 RBI. Bats in the 5 spot in this lineup after CNU stranded 1 in the first. Remember, Caitlin Hasty had a 4-pitch walk with 2 outs, and despite the pinch runner stealing a base, that runner would be left on.
Martin using that screwball a little bit more on our lefties. Haven't seen her throw that yet to any of our right-handed hitters. Really trying to work the outside corner on both sides when it comes to these alternate hitters.
Yeah, Martin now 208 innings of work this year, an ERA of 175. She went 25-6 on the year with 166 strikeouts. As Griever fighting off the last one, count 1-2. In third appearance at the softball championship for CNU, first time in over a decade. Only 1 team back from the field of 8 teams that made it to Salem last year. That's the Bulldogs of Texas Lutheran. TLU was last year's runner-up after winning the whole thing in 2019. Back when they'd never had to leave the state of Texas for the postseason that year. Oh, big cut back towards the wall, but it's going to hang up there as Russell able to squeeze it in. Nothing more than a loud out off the bat of Brooke Griever, 1 away.
Batting 6, designated player, number 9.
We're seeing that power from Griever. Ball off the bat. Yes, definitely a loud out, and is able to get fully extended. Maybe just slightly ahead of that. Stays in her legs a little bit more. You might see that ball go out.
So nobody on for Caroline Helmer out of Chesapeake, Virginia. Helmer hitting .319 this year, the DP. And CNU has already seen some of the teams this year that they could very well be facing this week. We mentioned Salisbury's in their conference, but also they played in the leadoff classic this year that featured Trine out of Indiana, as the Thunder of Trine is back. Most recently saw them back in 2019 in Tyler, Texas. I think back when they played Trine earlier this year, they realized just how good they could be this year, talking about the captains of CNU. Although I don't know after beating them if they told themselves they would only lose 1 game all year. As that's where CNU sits right now, 42-1. Last year, a little more human, 28-14. Taking on a WPI team that competes in the NEWMAC, the New England Women's and Men's Athletic Conference. And the 2-2 pitch on the outside edge for the second strikeout today for Martin.
And again, Martin doing a great job of working that outside corner, regardless of whether we're seeing a left-handed or a right-handed hitter. Every pitch is being used right now, setting up these strike threes. Just well executed there for her.
So here's Natalie Carmichael, your number 7 hitter in this lineup. Out of Warrenton, Virginia, 5th year, hitting .411. You okay with a 7 hitter who hits .411?
Well, I think it's a testament to what you would hear if you're in the dugout a lot from Coach Parr. And this team, the captains, have really leaned into the opportunity that they've gotten this season in a where their seasons have looked so different in 2020 and 2021 because of the pandemic. Seeing this team really lean into the opportunity that they've been given and being where their feet are, especially in this championship weekend that we're seeing for the captains, and hopefully they feel like they're playing their best ball.
Mentioned Carmichael is a 5th-year senior. She's one of 2 5th-year seniors for Coach Parr, but 7 of his 9 in the lineup every day are seniors. You would think this would be the year.
No time better than the present, especially with all of that talent, all of that experience. Makes a big difference in the energy and the, I would say, chemical makeup of your team.
I was wondering where my hat went. But you contrast that veteran presence in the lineup with a couple of freshman pitchers who have helped guide them here.
And you're seeing those freshman pitchers have some great senior presence, I would argue, some veteran presence.
Count 2-2 to Natalie Carmichael facing Katie Martin, who's working her way through the lineup of CNU for the first time. 2 outs, nobody on after a flyout and strikeout so far this inning for the captains. 2-2, that one into the glove of Ambrosino. So both teams have held serve through the first 2 innings. We are scoreless in Salem. Moving on quickly to the top of the 3rd here at Moyer Sports Complex. Well, the NCAA and Salem always do a great job making this feel like the championship city that it is. 8 teams arriving this week. We'll still have 8 teams competing tomorrow in this double elimination format, but we will have our first 2 elimination games slated for our first 2 contests of the day tomorrow. Lincoln Rose, Sydney Gearbracht with you, as WPI so far has not found a base runner against the freshman sensation in Kate Alger in the circle. Kate's still 4 years away from being a 5th-year senior, as Kelly Pritchard will lead things off here for WPI.
Would really like to see WPI be a little bit more aggressive in their at-bats. Saw that through the 2nd inning, and we're seeing that here again with Pritchard.
Big cut from Pritchard. Grew up in a baseball family. Her dad played baseball and would go on to coach at his alma mater at University of New Haven. Her brother played baseball at Maine. Kelly's a 2-way player. She can pitch in her own right, the freshman. As she'll take the pitch off the arm. And that's your first base runner for the Engineers. Oh, there was a missed opportunity for a pun there.
Batting 8th, shortstop, number 14, Lindsay Ambrosino.
As Pritchard is on with a smile. That was not the worst pitch to take. And we'll see how Alger responds now. Here's Lindsay Ambrosino. Lindsay was recognized before today's game as your Elite 90 award winner. Every championship site, the student athlete with the top GPA is recognized as your Elite 90 winner. She'll put down a bunt, see if she can beat it out. Instead, well played by 3rd baseman Brooke Griever, able to get the lead out despite a great bunt from Ambrosino.
And a great play by Griever, seconding that Lincoln. Important to be able to get the aggressive out there. Doesn't look like Pritchard is in full stride by the time she sees her teammate get that bunt down. Might have been a bit of a difference in whether or not that play is executed as well, but no runners in scoring position for WPI.
So still a runner on, but now 1 out. Bishop first pitch swinging. That'll get out of play. So the bat continues for Stephanie Bishop, your DP. Stephanie out of Milford, New Hampshire. Was splitting time at catcher early, as again after the fielder's choice, Ambrosino's now your base runner, trying to give herself up a moment ago. Arguably, perhaps trying to get a base hit out of it. Either way, CNU got the better of the exchange. And now she'll try to take second. She does. So stolen base from Ambrosino to try to atone for the out of Pritchard at second a moment ago.
Well, and whether it's a call or just seeing the ball out of Alger's hand, good pitch to take a base on with that extra time you get from an off speed.
So both teams have swiped a bag with their first base runner. CNU stranded that base runner back in the first. Let's see if WPI can strike with their 9-hitter at the plate, Bishop. As the count 1-2 after the cut from the senior Stephanie Bishop. Bishop started the year splitting the catching role for WPI. Eventually settled in as the DP in conference. And has really been great in the 9-hole, helping turn this lineup over. The 1-2 from Alger. And no favors done there from Bishop.
Well, and this is the situation that you really want to see teams execute in, right? So you have runners in scoring position. You have multiple outs still to work with for WPI. So really make use of your at-bats here. Have a productive out. Not necessarily needing to have the big hit right now, but even using, again, a productive out.
Boy, that ball was ripped over towards the media tent down that left field line. And I think it caught the gentleman with the headset on, who is part of our replay crew. I don't think he wants us to replay it. The 2-2 from Alger. Oh, got her on the high offering. 5 strikeouts for Kate Alger. 2 away.
And a beautiful pitch there by Alger. Does a great job of working the ladder. Let's take a look at it. Starts that ball up at the letters, moves out of the zone. And Bishop does not have the discipline to not take a hack at that.
So we're back to Sydney Russell. Again, last time we saw Sydney, she led off that first inning, and Bailey Roberts wanted to try to get Kate Alger back on schedule of facing the minimum. And again, your runner in Ambrosino, she realizes she may have gotten away with a little generous lead there. Sydney Russell 0 for 1 today with a strikeout looking back in the first. This one shot down the line. That is a foul ball. As Curran out there in right field. Wasn't going to be able to get to it in time, but that ball continued to drift foul. Russell was the first of 3 straight strikeouts in that first inning from the freshman pitcher, Alger. You've got popcorn, we'll be there. Runner on for WPI in scoring position, and Lindsay Ambrosino. Kate Alger in the circle. Just focused on Russell. So you have 13 healthy players, but you have to go all the way to the number 67 on uniforms?
You know, they let us pick our numbers, so one of the perks of being a college athlete, Lincoln.
1-2 offering coming up. As this one a slow one, charging is Hool, and will not be able to get there in time, and WPI will strike first. Lindsay Ambrosino with 2 outs was motoring the entire way, and it's the 8 seed who strikes and has the lead in Salem.
Probably not the best batted ball we've seen from Russell, but able to beat it out here. And Ambrosino doing some great base running, knowing that she's looking to take home once that play is made, once that decision has been made by the fielder.
Remember, Alger was perfect through the first 2 innings. A hit batter ultimately to break up what was a perfect start. And Ambrosino eventually comes around on the ground out from Russell. Here's Alex Sheehan. And she has a teammate on. And looking to go 2 for 2 in the stolen base department. Russell has swiped second now.
Seeing the Engineers get a little bit more confidence as this game goes on. Russell taking off again right at the pitch. Aggressive base running. You'd love to see it this early.
So again, WPI has struck here in the top of the third with 2 away. Another runner in scoring position now for Sheehan. 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first. Pops up a bunt. That should do it. But not before the Engineers strike. As a 2-out base hit from Sydney Russell. Able to bring home Lindsay Ambrosino. And it's the Engineers who have the lead early here in Salem.
Leading off the bottom half of the third inning for Christopher Newport in the number 8 position of the order, center fielder, number 2, Sarah.
First of 6 days in Salem, Virginia. In 8 teams competing for a national championship. Our first game of 4 scheduled for the day. The Engineers of WPI strike first against the captains of CNU. Bottom half of the third coming up for the top-seeded captains who have lost exactly once all year. As the 8, 9, and top spot of the order due up for CNU. This is Sarah Proctor, your center fielder. Sarah, one of the 7 seniors in the lineup, hitting .397 so far this campaign, along with 8 home runs. As all of a sudden, Katie Martin has a lead to work with, pitching here in her 3rd inning of work.
Well, what we know about WPI coming into this weekend is that this team is incredibly scrappy. They're used to playing with their back up against the wall. They have, I think, the most losses of any team in this tournament. So they're used to playing with their back up against the wall, having to come back with very few humans, right? Relying on the same people to come up big every single time. So that does something to the fabric of your team and the way you compete.
Yeah, this is not the cliche path of getting to the national championship. 13 healthy players. You finish 2nd in your conference. You do, however, win your conference tournament, where you knock off an MIT team that, trying to see if I even know, yeah, they knocked off MIT the first time they met them. We, of course, saw MIT here in recent years, but then would lose to them in the championship round, only to force a final game and win it 4-3. There have not been a lot of easy victories for these Engineers. They have found a way, as Martin able to strike out Proctor for her 3rd K so far.
We're really seeing Martin work the outside corner. Sometimes actually getting a swing and a miss after almost an identical pitch has been called a ball. So it looks like this captain's team is hungry and a little bit more discipline needed to be more successful at the plate.
Here's Maddie Houle. Did I mention WPI was picked the prestigious 4th spot in their conference entering the year? And yet here they are, one of 8 teams still playing softball in the country in Division III. Maddie Houle out of Woodbridge, Virginia, hitting .420. Again, your number 9 hitter. As CNU trailing by a run after WPI found its first base runner and ultimately its first base hit of the ball game in the top half of this, the 3rd frame. The 2-0 for Martin.
Houle being one of those 5th years on this captain's team. Having played every single game the captains have seen this year. So a lot of experience here under Houle's belt.
Lays off that one, 3-1.
And like you shared, Lincoln, in the 9 hole, right? Acting as a 2nd leadoff. They've really used Houle's average speed in order to generate runs, get on base, create some momentum.
She's trying to get on for the leadoff hitter, Caitlin Abernathy, who's on deck. Payoff pitch, left side. This will test Lazarus across the diamond as she passes with flying colors, 2 away.
Outfielder
Well, the captains aren't necessarily producing quite yet. We are seeing them put the ball in play and working Martin into full counts a number of times here. Not able to get a runner on base, but still productive at-bats from the captains thus far.
So back to one of the two All-Americans in the lineup, Caitlin Abernathy. Senior out of Prince George, Virginia, hitting .448 coming into today. She grounded out to the first baseman Pritchard back in the first. 0 for 1 so far. Again, third appearance in the Division III softball championship for the captains program. First in over a decade for WPI. Just their fourth ever NCAA postseason. And painting corners, Katie Martin. Count 1 and 2.
And Martin responding well, having a high inside, low outside, really working all four corners of the strike zone.
As Abernathy not leaving that one to chance, just fights it off. WPI missing out on the NCAA tournament last year, fell in their conference semifinals to Springfield. They had a couple of games against Springfield go to extra innings, neither of which would fall their way last year, cutting their season short. Punch down the third base line, that takes a left just short of third base. Foul ball.
Again, the captain's doing a good job of having Martin throw multiple pitches, fouling pitches off.
Shot out towards right. Will this one carry to the wall? It's gone. As it is a tied ball game, a solo shot with 2 outs from Caitlin Abernathy has us level at 1 apiece, and concern for Sydney Russell out in center field, who went hard trying to track that one down.
Beautiful hit by Abernathy, going gap to gap. Balanced with some concern for Russell out in center.
Abernathy's first home run for the All-American this year, and it just gets over beyond the reach of Russell, who, after taking that collision in the wall, has yet to get back up.
Really important as an outfielder, making sure that you are communicating with your peers out there. And even though we're playing on an unfamiliar field, got to make sure that your teammate knows there's a wall there. When do you need to climb it? When do you need to maybe back off because you know the ball's over?
A reminder, WPI right now with a player down in center field currently already has just 13 healthy players. And Heather Ross is presumably all the concern for her center field right now, but hoping that she hasn't lost another. We will step aside as we're in the midst of the bottom half of the third inning. CNU has just tied things up on the solo home run from Abernathy with 2 outs. Well, remember Sydney Russell offensively, one of your heroes early in this ball game with her single. Steal a base along the way, but they're going to bring her out. The DP, Stephanie Bishop, will go out to center field for her. And the nice thing about softball is if Russell somehow can recover, she could be brought back in, but at the moment, we're just glad she's able to get up and walk off.
Yeah, unfortunately, Russell a bit dazed and confused coming off of that collision with the fence.
So again, your DP Bishop, one of your players already in this ball game. Otherwise, Coach had 2 freshmen and maybe a couple pitchers to choose from to put out there in center field.
Yeah, not the team that has the depth of bench that we're going to be seeing from maybe other teams in this tournament. And again, the engineers are scrappy. They're going to do what they can with the humans that they've got.
Heather Ross, first-year head coach, brings WPI to its first ever softball championship. Played her college ball for UMass Lowell. Lost in all that, again, the tying home run from Caitlin Abernathy. Both teams have scored here in the third inning. That was a 2-out blast. The All-American has done a lot of things this year, but that was her first home run. And it gives way to Bailey Roberts now. A moment ago, Abernathy.
And Abernathy not even taking a full swing, just happens to get the barrel on the ball. Great timing. Able to, again, go gap to gap over the fence, put her team back in the ball game. Again, CNU is not a team that has to play against with their back against the wall very often. They're used to being the aggressor.
A 2-out home run from Abernathy as team meeting has wrapped up for Coach Ross and her engineers. Bailey Roberts comes up 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. She has 12 home runs, 40 RBI in the year. And Katie Martin just hoping to find that third out before any more damage is done.
Yeah, going to be important for Katie Martin to show some leadership on the mound right now in the circle, especially with a teammate that has been playing all 50 games thus far this season in Russell. So Martin going to showcase her leadership, hopefully, for this team. Taking this rest of this inning 1 pitch at a time. And she'll get a couple pitches to stay warm.
And we are scoreless coming into the third. Each team has struck once. CNU looking to put a crooked number up before they exit the third inning. An inning that began with their 8 and 9 hitters striking out and grounding out. Then Abernathy with her first home run to tie this ball game.
Now batting for the captains, the catcher, number 38, Bailey Roberts.
That'll bring Roberts again up 0 for 1 today. Came into this week hitting .354 with those 12 home runs. I'll fight off the first offering.
Martin doing a good job of using the ladder with her horizontal pitches, but also working the ladder both up and across.
We'll point out Bishop, though she came in for Russell, is going to play right field. Case will move from right to left, and Sheehan shifts from left to center field. For those of you scoring at home, good luck. Each team 1 run on 1 hit thus far. And Martin's a little closer to finding that third out. 1-2 count to Roberts.
Seeing Martin dig in here a little bit. She gets more and more warm in the game. A little bit more efficient with her pitches. Less waste pitches, less pitches setting up some of the strikes.
Again, Engineers coming off that challenging 3-game super regional against Tufts after dropping the first contest. CNU sweeping Virginia Wesleyan, though it went 9 innings for the clincher in that second game. CNU last year exited in the regional down in Seguin, Texas against Texas Lutheran. We would go on to see the TLU Bulldogs make their way to Salem. And they are back for a 3rd straight year now. And this one for Rod out towards left, and that is back-to-back 2-out blasts for CNU. Bailey Roberts, the most recent captain to conquer the wall here at Moyer Sports Complex.
Yeah, Roberts with her 13th home run on the year, and a no better time to be seeing the ball well. Actually takes an outside pitch. Again, gap to gap. Gets fully extended, stays in her legs. Beautiful work there by Roberts.
First base, number 27, Caitlin Hasty.
Don't have to do a whole lot of producing with those smaller hits when your team's hitting it over the fence.
Does not get any easier. Caitlin Hasty, the All-American with 18 home runs, about to come up with still 2 outs. And they're going to appeal to see whether the runner touched third. They say yes. hoping for a break there for a third out. So Abernathy and Roberts go back-to-back with home runs, solo shots with 2 outs here in the third to tie the game and now to give CNU a lead for the first time. Back to Hasty, who's the first base runner of the day. They would go on to run for her in that first inning. She reached on a 4-pitch walk. She sees a strike there from Martin. We'll see if she sees another strike. On deck is Katie Curran. Right now, Hasty, the 5th batter who has come up here this inning.
Again, we talked about that ladder that Martin is working. About a ball length off the plate, ball and a half. Seeing if she can get another swing and a miss.
So a 2-2 count. Katie Martin retiring the first 2 batters this inning. Still looking for that third out as the count goes full.
And we're noticing Katie Martin sort of speed up here a little bit. In the first 2 innings when she was a bit more, throwing maybe more pitches, but doing a bit of a better job of keeping the captains on their toes, taking a little bit less time in between pitches.
Got her on the 3-2. Katie Martin will end the third inning with a strikeout, her 4th on the day, but not before. Back-to-back home runs from Abernathy and Roberts gives CNU their first lead through 3.
Number 1, the NCAA Division III softball. Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Defensive change for CNU. Now in left field, in the number 1 position in batting order for the captains. Number 36.
Well, Katie Martin will now throw her first pitch of the day with a lead to protect. And pardon me, Kate Alger.
Leading off the top of the 4th inning for WPI.
And Alger coming into this game with 99 strikeouts, now over that 100 strikeout mark. Something to celebrate there for the freshman, and also has yet to lose a game in her collegiate career. 13 wins on the season, 0 losses.
Good thing nobody's ever had a sophomore slump. Their freshman year, at least. Salvalzo will lead things off here. Struck out looking back in the first inning for the final out, that frame. Takes a pitch high from Alger. Yeah, biggest question mark for these captains entering the year was going to be pitching. A couple of freshmen sharing most of the starts for Coach Parr's team. Obviously, things have turned out pretty well. Had the confidence going in and what he was going to see from his newest recruits, but wanted to see them prove it in actual game situations, and certainly have, led by Alger. (2-0) to Salvalzo in there for a strike.
And Salvalzo has worked extremely hard throughout preseason. Came into her own, became a really solid second baseman, but offensively has had many go-ahead or game-winning hits and RBIs in crucial games for the Engineers. So
Yeah,
looking to see her produce a little bit offensively here.
They knew what they had in her defensively, but the offense has been a pleasant surprise. Alger in the circle, a 3-1 offering to Salvalzo. And that is a free pass to the leadoff hitter here in the 4th inning. Tying run is on for WPI.
The catchers, number 45,
A lot of good teams here
Jocelyn Diaz.
this weekend, and important, especially in championship play, but important always to limit the amount of free passes that you're giving. Walks, drop third strikes, stolen bases, seen a couple of those today.
Let's see if WPI can manufacture a run here. After the free pass, here's Jocelyn Diaz, your catcher. And a nice snag by Bailey Roberts. Both teams have been aggressive running early on. this one foul and just out of reach. We've seen several softball players throughout the year wearing the purple ribbon for mental health awareness. Of course, certainly cuts even deeper here in the state of Virginia. Last year, while we were here calling the D3 championship, JMU was having its great run in Division I. They would go on to lose one of their players, really heightening the awareness. Far from limited to softball, but you see the reminders with the ribbons on players for both sides.
Yeah, a really important conversation regardless of the level that you're playing at. And hopefully a national conversation, especially from what we've seen with some losses of some incredible athletes and humans.
Your runner Salvalzo on first after her leadoff walk. Alger working with a lead, with the tying run on for WPI. The 1-2 to Diaz. Big cut, runner going, and it'll be a striker out, thrower out, double play. Diaz fans, Salvalzo out as Bailey Roberts able to fire it there in time. 2 away.
And a great heads-up play by Roberts. Able to squeeze that third strike and come up throwing. Not a double play you see very often. But a double play nonetheless.
Glancing tag there from, I believe, Houle. Here's Case now on what was a promising start to the inning, and all of a sudden now nobody on with 2 away.
Alger really relying on her defense. Again, going to be a strikeout pitcher, but will be relying on the defense. She's not going to be dominating in the same way she was in the first inning. Working that off speed. Also working the sides of the plate. Not afraid to go in on a lot of these batters we've seen. Have not seen nearly as many inside pitches from Martin. Alger working both sides of the plate nicely.
0-2 fought foul. Lincoln Rose, Sydney Gearbracht with you. Always look forward to this time of year, and especially when Salem is your host for these championships, as they have been for D3 and D2 pretty consistently over the years. That will not be the case next year. We're going to head to the campus of East Texas Baptist University in Marshall, Texas. That's near the Texas-Louisiana border, as they're going to undergo some renovations here at Moyer Sports Complex. Not sure if we're going to be able to pack up all the hospitality staff here and take them back to Lone Star State. So many great memories made here at this venue. This is one of 4 fields. As this one high into left, back towards the wall and gone. Boy, that one's scraping the clouds off the bat of Callie Case. As it is again a brand new ball game for WPI. We're level at 2. Case with her 3rd home run this year, and that one just continued to fly.
And Kelly Case getting every little bit of that ball. Driving it up, driving it out.
When you saw there, Sydney Russell, a good sign, comes out with a little ice pack on her head, but she's up to celebrating with her teammates at home plate.
No wind out here today, or maybe a bit of a breeze. But it doesn't matter because that ball was carried out, hit well, barreled up by Case.
Might just be because our window's closed. Well, Alger right back to work after the 2-out home run. All 3 of the most recent runs have been scored with 2 outs, and they all happen to be home runs. Here's Lazarus, so for 1 today. So both pitchers have been entrusted with a 1-run lead, and we're back to a level affair.
It's going to be important for the pitchers to stop the momentum wherever they can, because home runs as an isolated event, not necessarily the end of the world unless it's a bit of a pitcher's duel. We're seeing that a little bit with Martin and Alger today, but these teams pretty evenly matched thus far offensively.
Lazarus at the plate. She's your 3rd baseman this ball game, but she had been part of the pitching rotation for WPI. WPI felt like they slipped up against Coast Guard in Game 2 of a weekend, and after that, instead of your traditional pitcher 1 on Friday, pitcher 2 on Saturday, they have stuck with Martin the rest of the way, just allowing her to pitch throughout. Underneath this one, Lazarus will shoot it to left center. Underneath it is Proctor. And there's your third out, but not before Callie Case with 2 outs goes deep. And we are even at 2 runs apiece in Salem.
In the top of the 4th inning. Leading off the bottom of the 4th inning for the Captains.
Katie Martin's teammates pick her up in the last half inning. That was a short-lived deficit for the Engineers. And she goes back to work in a 2-2 ball game here in the home half of the 4th inning. Lincoln Rose, Cindy Gearbracht, again, double elimination format until we get down to the final 2 teams. And then, regardless of what their record is, they'll play a best-of-3 game series. We're in the mid-60s right now. And a healthy cut from Katie Curran. You imagine everybody now coming to the plate believes that they're going to hit the next home run in this ball game. But they forget the rule that there have to be 2 outs.
Well, and I love teams taking their hacks, being aggressive, regardless of where they are in the inning, or regardless of whether they are in the at-bat.
Curran in a hole 0-2 against Martin. Curran grounded out to end the first inning. That's the one inning CNU has stranded a runner. 0-2 shot up the middle. That'll test your new center fielder, Sheehan, who will knock it down, keep it in front of her, and minimize the damage. Leadoff base hit for Katie Curran.
And Curran, one of many of the captains in this lineup, hitting over 400, coming into this game, hitting 416 on the year. Sends that ball up the middle nicely.
I mean, all these players for CNU on their resume are going to be able to tell people that they were a captain. As Griever at the plate, runner going, a late throw, and Curran in there successfully with the stolen base.
Curran ready on that pitch. Teammate does their job. Runner now in scoring position.
1-0 to Griever. That'll miss outside. And several of the teams here in Salem have faced each other already this year with the rise of some of these early season tournaments. Traditionally in D3, we haven't seen quite as much travel, allowing these powerhouses to meet in one common spot. I think after the pandemic really restricted movement, I think some of these coaches are happy to get their players out and about. After we missed out on a 2020 champion, great to resume things last year. 2-1, fought foul as the count evens up. Again, Katie Martin facing the hitter, Brooke Griever, for a second time.
And the silver lining for this CNU team is how many seniors they have, seniors and fifth-year players who are with this team, getting to capitalize on the talent of some of the newcomers.
Curran with that stolen base, stands on second, the 2-2. Shot off the glove of Martin. Chance to recover Salvalzo, and a nice heads-up play by the second baseman. It also allows the runner Curran to move to third with 1 away. That one just scrapes off the glove of your pitcher in the circle, and sometimes that will eliminate any chance to get the out, but not for Salvalzo.
Some good reaction time there from Martin. Ball hit well from Griever. That might be the go-ahead had it not been knocked down.
That's your traditional 1-4-3 put-out. Here's Caroline Helmer, your DP. Struck out looking back in the second, as Martin with 4 strikeout victims so far today. including 2 last inning. CNU looking for its second lead of the day. It's just 60 feet away with 1 out here in the 4th. Opposite field, over to right, into foul territory, and frankly, if Bishop could catch it, I don't know if she should have caught it, as the runner likely would have been able to tag and come home.
Yeah, that's a ball that we're going to say leave it, leave it, leave it. Let that just be a long strike.
We've already seen Curran steal a base. She stands on third. Caroline Helmer trying to bring her home as she faces Martin. And a 3-1 count now to Helmer, your 6th hitter in this lineup for CNU. Christopher Newport University against Worcester Polytechnic Institute. This one over to left. It'll get down. They're going to send the runner. And probably the smart decision by your left fielder, Case, realizing that runner was going to get home, minimize the damage by keeping Helmer to just the single. But it's an RBI for Helmer, and the Captains are back up by 1 as Curran scores.
Captain's doing a much better job of hitting Martin's pitches full barrel. Seen a couple line drives back to back.
Kensley Hess, the junior, will come on to pinch run. That's been a recurring role for her this year. As she comes on for Caroline Helmer. Still just 1 out after the RBI single from Caroline. So now bottom third of the order for the Captains, looking to produce. Natalie Carmichael lined out to end the 2nd inning to the shortstop. See if she can help CNU put another crooked number on the board as they did last inning. 5 runs have scored this ball game, 3 of them on solo home runs with 2 outs. Now we're seeing teams put some hits together. Left side, shortstop Ambrosino tries to get the lead out and does. That was the only play available to her, and she got it just in time as the pinch runner Hess is off the base paths.
Smart play, very close play. WPI doing a good job of not getting or staying level, staying disciplined with their defense. It's been a bit of a back and forth in terms of who's owning the momentum between these 2 teams.
Sarah Proctor squares around, and what that does is put a barrel of the bat right in front of the face of Jocelyn Diaz. So she doesn't have a great look as the runner, Carmichael, will take second base. Another stolen base for CNU.
Yeah, you're right, Lincoln. A little bit of what might have been an interference.
Yeah, that would have been my concern there for Proctor, as even though she withdrew the bat, continued her momentum over the plate. A moot point now. Carmichael with the stolen base. Proctor 0 for 1 today with a strikeout, but in a 0-2 hole. And she was not concerned about needing to protect the plate there. A good eye. She's the 5th batter this inning for CNU. 2nd straight inning, they've brought 5 to the plate. They brought 2 home in the 3rd, 1 here in the 4th. And a couple of pitches now off the mark.
We've seen Martin get ahead of the last couple batters. CNU doing a job settling in, waiting for their pitch, fouling off or taking what they don't want. So their game plan shift a little bit, being aggressive in the first couple pitches, and now doing a great job of settling into their at-bats and hitting the ball hard off Martin thus far.
CNU up by 1, runner on second, and now they have 2 aboard with 2 away. A 2-out walk to Sarah Proctor. So again, when the Super Regionals wrap up, the committee reseeds these teams. You can understand why the captains, with just one loss all year, your number 1 seed, WPI, a tougher path, winds up being your 8 seed, but here they are, demonstrating what this championship's all about. As time called for WPI to have a chat in the circle. Once you get here, everybody has a right to win it all.
Absolutely. Every single team here has earned the opportunity. And, you know, what we've seen, we've gotten a chance to talk to a lot of the coaches, is every single one of the coaches is leaning into the opportunity, not necessarily coming into this tournament doing anything different, doing what they need to do that their club does well, right? So the captains playing captain softball, engineers playing, and doing what the engineers need to do to be successful. So interesting to see the culture of these teams come out in these big moments.
Maddie Houle, your 9-hitter, trying to keep this inning going. We see so many teams who reach this stage for the first time. They have a quick exit, but we do see them the next year, and often the coaches will say, we were just kind of happy to be there in retrospect, and we regretted that. We were back this year for a business trip. Well, every single coach this year already seemed to have that focus of, when we get there, we're there to play all 6 days. As Houle will fight this one foul. And we have some new programs making their way. We have some storied programs who are back. We will crown a new champion this year, perhaps not a first-time champion. But still all 8 teams with a clean slate so far. As the count's gone full to the 9-hitter after a walk a moment ago to the 8-hitter with 2 outs.
Well, this may be an opportunity for the captains to bust it wide open, right? Houle as a second leadoff. Full count.
Left side of the shortstop. Ambrosino can't get the out at second, can't get the out at first. Play at the plate. No, they say safe. And the throw to third, there's your out. Wow. And just to digest all of that for a moment, from our vantage point, looked like Carmichael was going to be out by a mile.
I think from every vantage point, there was a lot going on in that play. But yes, it did look like Carmichael was going to be the called out there.
We'll get another look before we go to break. At the moment, there's been no review.
It looks like there was a bit
ball
of
and glove, and if the tag was just too high, and with all that dirt being kicked up over the plate, that was the issue. The tag applied above that knee. We'll step aside as things stand. We're headed to the 5th inning. CNU found insurance up 4-2. Great.
Your attention, please. Back in right field for the captains defensively is number 12, Katie Curran.
Well, CNU has plated 2 runs in each of the last 2 innings. After WPI, each of those innings scored 1. So the captains now with the greatest discrepancy we've seen so far today on the scoreboard, albeit just a 2-run affair. Kelly Pritchard down to the 7th spot. She was hit by pitch back in the 3rd. And she faces, again for the captains here, Jamie Martin. As Jamie Martin, the freshman All-American in the circle, steps in for Alger. Southpaw giving WPI a different look. Their second way through the lineup.
Well, Martin coming into this game with the 1 loss for the captains on the season.
100% of their losses.
100% of their losses.
Hate to pile on.
But 19 wins, so also shoulders the majority of the wins as well. Another freshman is going to serve the captains well in her career.
You're always glass 95% full. Yeah, 19-1 on the year, a .95 ERA. as Martin's a pretty good ace 1B.
Yeah, and comparably to Alger, you're going to have left-handed pitcher, going to throw a bit harder, going to have a bit more movement. It really relies on the defense with pop-ups, fly-outs.
So Alger went 3 innings in her start, conceding 2 runs on 2 hits. And Heather Ross, the first-year head coach for WPI, bringing them to uncharted waters for their program. As the off-speed pitch not breaking in time. 2-2 count to the 7-hitter Pritchard. Pritchard out of Connecticut, the freshman. Mentioned one of your two-way players, but hasn't seen much time in the circle because of Kate Martin. As Jamie Martin in the circle right now for the opponent, CNU. Jamie out of Lorton, Virginia. Captains have not had to spend much of the recruiting budget leaving the Commonwealth of Virginia to find talent. Two-two offering from Martin in her first inning of work in relief. And she does exactly what Kate Alger does, and that's pick up a strikeout.
Shortstop, number 14, Lindsay Ambrosino.
Ball that's plated right down the middle at the waist. Got to take your hacks at that, especially with 2 strikes on the board. But a good pitch from Martin.
So again, here's Ambrosino, who put down that bunt that caused some problems for CNU defensively back in the 3rd inning. She would ultimately come around to score when it's all said and done after reaching on fielder's choice. 4.0 GPA in electrical engineering. There was something else that she was double majoring as well, but we were too busy thinking about a 4.0 in electrical engineering. As a result, again, she was your Elite 90 Award winner, and that's pretty cool that there's a patch now to show for it underneath her NCAA patch.
And Ambrosino maybe not having some of the not having the best season comparably to some of her other seasons. So coming in 18-19 season, batting .321. In the 21 season, batting .318. But also putting up some impressive numbers for this squad, right? The most doubles she's had thus far in her career at 8.
One-two fought foul.
It's been really important for the Engineers to have Ambrosino's leadership. And again, maybe not having the average that she's had in years past, but still being able to contribute to her team in other ways. But still having some good numbers, even though some of the ones we're looking at most often.
She is your captain for the Engineers, the heart and soul of this team. And not just that, so we mentioned dominating her studies, playing championship caliber softball, and before games she whips out a microphone and does pregame interviews with her teammates.
Maybe one day she'll be in my seat.
One of our jobs is in jeopardy, maybe both. The 2-2. Again, Jamie Martin comes in this inning for CNU after the starter Kate Alger went 3. So Martin inherits a 2-run lead. If this were to hold up as your final score, Martin would be your winning pitcher after Alger does not go the minimum required. And that is back-to-back strikeouts for Jamie Martin in relief. And she protects the 2-run advantage.
Right fielder, number 5, Stephanie Bishop.
Well, Martin's going to have a little bit more movement than what we saw from Alger. Again, really relying on those horizontal moving pitches, curve and screw away from a right-handed hitter in order to get strike 3.
Here's Stephanie Bishop, started today as your DP. These days she is your right fielder after her teammate ran into the wall. Bishop, your 9-hitter. Trying to get something going here with 2 outs in the 5th. one of the players WPI without this year. Their senior Gabby Serbo, season-ending surgery just a couple weeks prior to their spring trip to California. Thought she'd probably be filling the DP role that Bishop has stepped in to fill. And when Division III, we talk about seniors who have season-ending injuries. You're not talking about redshirting coming back this year because, well, you're paying your tuition. So there's no extra free bonus year to come back. These fifth-year seniors are a rarity. Probably saw fewer Division III players take advantage of the extra year of eligibility from the NCAA than we saw in Division I and Division II.
And you only have so much time to compete at this level, so I know a lot of players who want to take advantage of the time that they're given. Again, the opportunity to play college sports is certainly a privilege, regardless of what division you're in.
I won't talk about other sports very often, but this fall I had a Davidson college football game. They only had one grad student, and it wasn't really a grad student, it was a fifth-year senior because there are no grad programs. They're Davidson College, not Davidson University.
Okay.
And so some of these D3 schools also would have that problem. If you got a double major or figure out some other way to drag your feet to stay academically eligible. The 2-2. Slow roller left side, and that is going to keep the inning going. Number 9 hitter Stephanie Bishop comes through. Regardless of how you want to score it, Engineers are still fighting here in the 5th. That is an error on Greaves.
And a good pitch there from Martin, good off speed.
As Griever just couldn't get that one to stay in the glove.
Would love to see Griever actually been a bit more aggressive as opposed to just going horizontally. Maybe needs to take a better angle on that, more towards first, more towards where the out is being played rather than straight across towards second.
All right, so
a different outcome.
Here's Trinity Gibbs, as Gibbs is the answer that some folks were wondering, well, who replaces Sydney Russell with the bat? As Gibbs is now the individual that is being hit for, or pardon me, who is carrying the offensive weight, the freshman, hitting 133 on the year with 1 RBI. Limited opportunities here in her first season, but one of the 2 freshmen available for Heather Ross on her bench.
And depending on how many pinch hit opportunities Gibbs has gotten, great opportunity to get some at-bats on this stage, in this level of competition.
Again, Sydney Russell out in center field was trying to track down what would be a home run ball, collides with the wall. We've seen her on her feet celebrating with teammates, so that's a good sign, but was unable to continue defensively or with her bat. So Gibbs, in her first plate appearance, and she's facing Jamie Martin, who has 2 strikeouts this inning, but the inning's still alive after Stephanie Bishop able to reach on an error. Big moment for Gibbs, the freshman. Caught looking at the 2-2 offering, and that's a 3-strikeout inning for Jamie Martin in her first trip to the circle here in Salem, defending successfully a 2-run lead. Home half of the 5th inning coming up next. Beautiful backdrop here at Moyer Sports Complex. All we're missing are the mountains. We promise they're still there. It's just the softball complex that is going to undergo some renovation this off-season. As clouds off in the distance, we do expect some rain by the end of the evening. But great conditions for these 2 programs to kickstart today's quadruple header. Both teams have held leads. Right now it's CNU trying to build on a 4-2 advantage. Lincoln Rose, Sydney Gearbracht, along with our great NCAA.com crew. Thrilled to have you tuned in. It'll be just shy of the noon hour here on the East Coast, or for those of you who are getting caffeinated over there on the West Coast. There's a 2-0 count to start here. So your last starter standing in the circle is Katie Martin after the change was made by CNU last inning. And it's a 3-0 start now to Abernathy.
And really looking to the captains here to start to bust it open with Martin, right? So they've gone through, this is probably their second or third time through the lineup. Abernathy coming off of a home run, doesn't even have a full swing, just able to get barreled to the ball, have great timing, sends it over.
Yeah, that was first home run of the year for Abernathy. It'd be the first of consecutive home runs. And yeah, you hit your first home run of the season. You earned some respect.
Right, in a national championship tournament.
I don't think that's an intentional walk. But a walk nevertheless. And Bailey Roberts now is going to come up to the plate wondering if she gets to get walked now. Roberts has had a few more home run trots than her teammate. That was her 13th. This one out of play.
I'm looking to Abernathy to probably take one here.
Every runner today has been successful when trying to swipe a bag. We've seen aggressive base running. This will have a chance to get down to the gap. It'll die down in the damp grass as going from first to third is Abernathy, and it is a double for Bailey Roberts. So she is a couple of extra base hits today.
Well hit ball by Roberts. Again, the captain's doing a good job of going gap to gap. And Abernathy, aggressive base running, knowing she's taking two. Sets up nicely for the first time with runners in scoring position and no outs on the board.
Keith Parr is going to run for Roberts. As that is Caroline Pollock, the sophomore who will come on, her 15th appearance this year. So Abernathy the runner on third. Pollock runs for Roberts after the double from the catcher. And here is Hasty.
And you have a base open, so going to be curious if they choose to walk Hasty here with 18 runs coming into today. And Hasty is also due for a hit. 2 strikeouts so far on the day. Coming into today's game, hitting .426. These next couple at bats should be big for her if the numbers are any reflection.
There's that whole All-American thing as well.
Yes.
One of 3 All-Americans for CNU this year, along with Abernathy and the pitcher Martin. For Jamie Martin, All-American as a freshman. That has set some pretty high expectations moving forward. 1-1 offering coming from Katie Martin. I mean, I feel like I should say every inning how Katie Martin has pitched all but 1 inning this entire postseason.
I think you should too.
And here they are. That is just incredible to put on a pitcher, and she has come through. And it has not been smooth sailing. She has been in some tight situations and helped guide the Engineers to success more often than not. 2-2 right side. That ball gets through. CNU has more insurance as they will plate a pair. So it's a 2-run base hit from Hasty to score Abernathy and Pollock. And all of a sudden, CNU doubles its lead 6-2.
And a great at bat there from Hasty, right? Not trying to do too much, not trying to overswing. Able to put the bat on the ball in that gap. Scores 2 runs. It's a good softball. Good awareness of what pitch she's looking for. Tip your cap to the All-American.
And we mentioned, rare have we seen a pitcher other than Katie Martin in the circle. I think that's about to change. As Martin seeing the CNU lineup for a 3rd time. And by default, as announcers, we like to talk about how the bats tend to gain an advantage when they do see a pitcher for a 3rd time around. So Sophia Togneri, the junior, will step into the circle. We'll have more on Sophia when we come back. So for just the second time this entire postseason, a pitcher other than Katie Martin in the circle after Martin had pitched all but 1 inning this NCAA postseason. It's Sophia Togneri, as Sophia this year makes her 16th appearance overall, a little over 40 innings of work, an ERA of 3.1. As even when she's not in the circle, she's been a big part of the team's success with scouting, looking at film. She often is sitting next to the pitching coach, tracking the opponent's pitcher's tendencies, which then in return helps her teammates when they're at the plate.
Well, talk about being a great teammate and maximizing your experience and learning as much as you can, whether or not you're in the game or able to contribute in a more direct way. Love to see that. And Togneri, one of the 3 pitchers that are, shouldering the rest of the innings that we're not seeing Martin throw. So Martin came into today throwing just under 208 innings on the season. Comparably, Togneri has thrown 40 coming into today's game.
4th batter of the inning for CNU is Katie Curran, who singled and stole a base before scoring in the 4th. A walk, a double, and a single so far this inning for captain hitters. And stolen base for Hasty. She may have had the bag even if Diaz had been able to secure that ball. And Togneri, along with Kelly Pritchard and Shayna Lazarus this year combined 122 innings, 10 wins. And I'm listing all the pitchers not named Katie Martin. They went with the more traditional model during the season until that Game 2 loss against Coast Guard. And that's when Martin all of a sudden started being your Game 1 and your Game 2 pitcher. Off speed, won't die down. And Curran out of Blacksburg nearby. And a big cut on a 3-1 offering as the count goes full.
A couple big cuts here from Kieran.
Brooke Griever on deck. Nobody out. The runner on second. And left side of the infield, Ambrosino says she has it. She does, 1 away. Good communication between Ambrosino and Lazarus there on the left side.
So a phenomenon you see as players and here in the booth is the strike zone widening, and sometimes your eyes get bigger as a hitter when you see a pitch that is just a little bit closer, maybe up at the chest. So Curran just couldn't lay off that high pitch, but took some really good cuts earlier in her at bat at some great strikes. Love to see a little bit more discipline.
Captains have added 2 more runs to the lead this inning. That's important in part because this entire postseason, including the conference tournament, they have not conceded more than 4 runs, and those 4 runs came against Salisbury back in the conference championship. During the NCAA tournament, CNU had conceded a grand total of 4 runs. All that came in the Super Regional before today, when WPI was able to briefly claim a lead. Again, a lot of teams that have been on fantastic runs this postseason, and we ultimately know that something has to give for 7 of the 8 programs that make their way to the championship site.
Well, the captains haven't had to play with their back against the wall very much this season. Again, used to being the aggressor, used to being the team that puts the pressure on. We're seeing them come into their own, and what I like that I've seen so far is that the captains have leaned into what makes them great and are using every single inning, every single at bat to lean into putting together runs, putting together hits in order to build a bigger lead.
Brooke Griever at the plate. That is Bianca Palmer-Scott, pinch runner for Hasty on second. Palmer-Scott from Virginia Beach making her 12th appearance of the year. That ball will get through. Palmer Scott will move to third. They'll throw up the stop sign with the ball hit to left, where Callie Case is patrolling things these days. So runners on the corners now with one away.
Again, good discipline from Griever. Sees an off-speed pitch, able to poke it through. And also, again, the captain's not trying to do too much, not trying to swing for the fences, just trying to put the bat on the ball, choosing great pitches, having good timing, leaning into the fundamentals.
Togneri now facing her third batter in relief, as it's Caroline Helmer, the DP. She singled back in the fourth inning, 1 for 2 today with an RBI. And Helmer, a .319 hitter coming into this final week. A couple of home runs, 14 RBI. The 1-0. This inning began with the walk from Abernathy. She has since come home to score, as did the pinch runner for Bailey Roberts-Pollock after Bailey Roberts' double. It was a 2-run single from Caitlin Hasty that has tacked on the most recent 2 runs for CNU, and again, her pinch runner, Palmer Scott, over on third right now. 60 feet away from making this potentially a 5-run lead. So 2 on for Helmer, both in scoring position, and she is caught looking for out number 2. First strikeout in relief for Togneri.
A good pitch. Bit of off speed, using that outside corner. Bit of disbelief from our batter there, but a beautiful spot there by Togneri.
And more changes for Keith Parr. His 19th year at the helm of the Captains. Before that, 4 years as an assistant. 630 wins right now. He would like to add a few more. Since taking over the program in 2003, 15 straight NCAA tournaments, 3rd trip to the national championship. First mentioned in a decade. As batting for Carmichael, this is Meredith Brickner from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, freshman. She's had several pinch hitting opportunities this year. It's her 22nd game, hitting .333 in her first year in college. And she'll pinch this one into the gap, and after scoring 2 runs in the past 3 innings, they'll put a 3 spot on the board here in the 5th. A pinch hit RBI single from Brickner. And it's a 3-run 6th inning, and CNU tries to step a little bit closer towards staying in the winner's bracket.
Well, and again, these captains doing a great job not overswinging, working gap to gap, and being true to the culture that Parr has created.
Palmer Scott comes home to score. Now Natalie Carmichael re-enters after they pinch hit for her, so she'll come on to run. That makes up for it, doesn't it?
Well, what's interesting is that we saw the captains get on the board with some big hits, right? So home runs on either side of the field. And now we're seeing why they have that 42-win mark, Lincoln.
Looking to make it a 20-game win streak since their only loss of the year. Sarah Proctor here in the 8th spot. She has walked and struck out so far today. She is the 8th batter this inning for CNU. Off the glove of Togneri, able to recover and fires a strike to first for out number 3. but not before CNU able to chase the starting pitcher and plate 3 more runs along the way. After 5 innings in our first game of the day, CNU with a commanding advantage, up 8-2.
1 runner left on base. Our new score through 5.
WPI trying to engineer a comeback with possibly just 6 outs to work with here in their opening contest in Salem. Of course, it is double elimination. Winner of this game will move on to tomorrow night's second matchup for them, while the team that comes up short will be right back at it tomorrow morning, facing elimination in our first game of the day.
She re-enters the lineup in the number 2 position in the order. Number 38, Bailey Roberts. So Abernathy back in left. Carmichael back in
So CNU back out there now defending a 6-run lead in the top of the 6th. You know, I say WPI has 6 outs to work with. Of course, the nature of softball, they're not guaranteed more than 3 outs right now. And CNU would have a chance to walk it off with a run rule with an 8-run discrepancy if they could plate a couple. Right now, WPI just looking on what they can control, and you love that part of that is going out there with a smile.
WPI showing some good composure, even though the captains have continued to chip away, continue to put runs up on the board every inning.
Mentioned Alex Sheehan at the plate, celebrating her birthday yesterday with her teammates. So far 0 for 2 today. Facing Jamie Martin for the first time. Martin came in to relieve Alger last inning. And right back to Martin, 1 away.
Both of these teams have done a good job thus far, taking care of the details, taking care of the routine plays.
second base, number 24, Alicia.
Haven't necessarily seen a big play yet. Sometimes you don't need them.
Eight runs on 9 hits for the captains. WPI 2 runs on 2 hits against these pitchers for CNU. So 1 out, nobody on for Salvalzo. The 2-0. A big cut, but the count 2-1. We've already seen a couple more programs make their way into the venue. Both TLU and Barry, who are up next, have been warming up for their contest. That is slated for a 1:30 Eastern start, tentatively, as that bunt will roll foul, 2-2. TLU, of course, the only team back from last year's field here in Salem. It is their 3rd straight appearance in the championship after winning it in their debut, 2019. They're the 4 seed this year, Barry the 5 seed. Should be a good one on the horizon, but WPI wouldn't mind if that game starts a little late.
WPI still has a lot to work with here, about 5 outs. Important for them to remember that it's not over till it's over. Still a lot of ball game left.
Full count, 1 away. Martin back on the rubber. That one punched foul.
We were talking about momentum earlier in this game, Lincoln, and how a home run, just a home run as an isolated event, is not necessarily going to hurt you. And we've seen the momentum slightly shift over to the CNU captains. And WPI needs to be strategic here, both offensively and defensively, to see what they can do to get the momentum to shift back in their favor.
Again, the count stays full. One out, nobody on for WPI, as they have seen CNU score all 8 of their runs over the past 3 innings. And after the payoff pitch, it is a walk with 1 out to Salvalzo.
The catcher, number 45, Jocelyn Diaz.
That'll give away to Jocelyn Diaz.
Opportunity for momentum to shift here. Throw a walk, free pass. Again, limiting the free passes as much as possible, even for a team like CNU coming in that first seed.
Count 1-0 to Diaz. Another one battled back into the net. So we mentioned it is TLU and Barry coming up next. Later on today, it'll be Milliken against Salisbury. Milliken had another tough path here. We talk about so many of these teams who had smooth sailing. The Warriors of Eastern Connecticut State are back, as are Trine. They will face each other in our nightcap. We last saw both of them in 2019 in Tyler, Texas. And Jamie Martin in relief, the 2-1 to Diaz. And Diaz sends this one for a ride out towards left, and that ball is gone. A 2-run shot for Jocelyn Diaz, as she brings home Salvalzo, and the Engineers still optimistic that they can find a way to battle back in this one. For Diaz, her 3rd home run of the year.
And you love to see that from Diaz, right? Great composure. Got a free pass with a runner on first, able to hit that ball hard, hit it out. Ain't no way that ball was staying in the park. And chips away just slightly at the deficit. And again, a lot of ball game left, Lincoln.
Even if they kept the receipt, probably not going to be able to return that hat. Here's Callie Case. She was the last Engineer to homer. That was back in the 4th inning. And boy, is CNU happy they put a 4 spot up in the bottom of the 5th, as half of that has already been trimmed away. In Case 1 for 2 today, home run and strikeout. That was against Alger, her first time to see Jamie Martin. Both pitchers for CNU, freshmen on a team that has 7 seniors in the lineup. A youth movement in the circle for the team out of the Coast to Coast Conference. All WPI emerging out of the NUMAC. Two from Martin as it slips inside to Case. So after topping MIT in the if necessary game of the NUMAC Championship, they swept their way through the Arcadia Regional, including single-handedly eliminating the hosts Arcadia on the final day. I mentioned WPI is the only team that lost its first game of a Super Regional, not just to come back and win the whole Super Regional, but to even force a 3rd game. Everybody else was sweeps, including CNU, these captains sweeping the defending national champions Virginia Wesleyan last weekend. And it's a 1-out walk. After the after the 2-run home run from Diaz, the walk to Case. We'll see what Heather Ross has in mind as a pinch runner. Oh, come on.
We've seen from both Martin and Alger had some really dominant first innings once they've come in the game, saw some strikeouts. And then as they're continuing to settle in, a little bit less precise, throwing a couple more pitches. Now, WPI has settled in nicely offensively, not producing quite as well as the captains, but still chipping away. Again, not trying to do too much, but I'd like to see Martin and Alger, when they're back up against the wall, to bear down a little bit and be a bit more efficient and precise and disciplined with some of their pitches.
Amelia Montgomery, the freshman, will come on to be your pinch runner after Case walks a moment ago. And a cut from Lazarus, currently 0 for 2 today. Most recently a fly out to end the 4th. A 1-out walk to Salvalzo. She scored on the 2-run home run from Diaz, the 3rd home run of the year for Diaz. Case now on the base paths with the walk, now being pinch run for, as we mentioned, by Montgomery. Still just 1 away.
And Jamie Martin coming back, 2 great pitches. This is the competitor's mindset I was looking for.
The 0-2. This foul out of play. Over to one of our adjacent fields. First of 6 straight days, whittling 8 teams down to 2, and ultimately a national champion here in Division III. This has been a fun one. And another rocket shot, and it is gone. The Engineers mounting a comeback here in the 6th with 4 runs, including a pair of home runs. Shayna Lazarus, the most recent to conquer the confines. Her 3rd here in 2022.
And what a time to be putting more of those home runs up on the board, up on your home run count as a team. Ball up by the letters, able to drive it out of the park. And again, talking about the momentum shift, how important it is to use it and capitalize on it while you've got it. Love to see that from the Engineers.
They had 13 home runs all year. They've already found 3 today against the number 1 seed, CNU. Montgomery comes home to score as your pinch runner. That's a pretty good day's work for a pinch runner. Here's Kelly Pritchard. It's been hit by pitch and struck out looking. The first bat of this inning, Alex Sheehan was retired. I'm not trying to pile on her, but the next 4 teammates all came up, all reached, and have all scored. They are making the most of their remaining outs, and it's unlikely we're going to be talking about a run rule. Can CNU hang on? 0-2 hole for Pritchard, the hitter. We've seen a lot of backwards Ks today, but WPI hitters are determined not to simply offer their bat for the sake of it. Pritchard caught looking at strike 3 just last inning. That was a 3 strikeout inning for Martin. Still looking for her first here.
Well, in a tournament like this with double elimination, you want to be as strategic as possible, right? Play the least amount of games even though you're one of the last teams standing in the season. Least amount of games means least amount of arm circles for your pitchers. Got to keep them as fresh as possible. Speaking of strikeouts.
There is the elusive out number 2. So Jamie Martin in the circle right now. She's not aware of it, but she has been just named the NFCA National Freshman of the Year. NFCA, obviously, with a timed release about 15 minutes ago. She's had other things occupying her mind for a little bit.
I would say so. A tremendous achievement. Congratulations, Jamie Martin.
I mean, she's got stiff competition on her own team for top freshman.
Absolutely.
Let alone top freshman pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of All-Americans on display. We'll see on Barry, the nation's best catcher. Jamie just trying to hang on. She is still in line for the win, coming on in relief back in the 4th inning. Here's Ambrosino. It's a stolen base and a run scored today, looking for more.
And the Engineers really relying on Ambrosino, not only in the field, so right as their shortstop, captain of the infield, but offensively as well, but really in maintaining the culture and being the leader for this Engineers squad.
Fighting off the 1-2 offering.
Like I shared earlier, maybe not having the best year in terms of average, but has the highest amount of doubles she's ever had. Also the highest amount of stolen bases, so she's looking to contribute where she can, being a good teammate, setting the standard for some of these younger Engineers.
Right side, diving snag by Maddie Houle, gets the out. What a play. So WPI plates 4, but no more. Maddie Houle showing off her range, flashing some leather. Her captains remain up by 2.
There were no errors committed and nobody left on base. Your attention, please. Defensively for WPI, number 29, Callie Case.
As we welcome you back here for the home half of the 6th inning, WPI doing some heavy lifting in the top half of the inning. A 4 spot on the board, a couple of 2-run blasts, and with that, we re-enter Katie Martin into the circle for WPI after Sophia Togneri had come on.
Now batting for CNU in the bottom of the 6th inning, second baseman, Maddie Houle.
Left side, snag from Lazarus. And everybody flashing the leather now when it matters the most.
I was just saying, we haven't really had a big play yet. Now we've
Mind
had a
you,
couple.
that was robbed. We just saw Houle in the last inning with her glove, and now she's robbed by Lazarus.
And like we were saying earlier, Lincoln, it's not over till it's over. WPI doing a good job here of, as you said, flashing leather.
Yeah, I
Katie
double-checked with the NCAA committee chair. They did confirm in Division III also, not over till it's over.
Not over till it's over, yeah.
Wasn't sure if there'd been a recent policy change on that.
And Katie Martin back in this game shows the trust that this team has in her. And more importantly, the trust that Heather Rost has in her graduate pitcher.
So again, Katie Martin, your starter today, has re-entered. Right side. That ball a little tough to handle up there on the heel of Salvalso, but she's able to stay calm and fire it over for out number 2 to retire Abernathy. This is what WPI needs, and I know it's not over, but they need a quick inning.
Yes, they do.
Get those bats back to the plate and keep it just a 2-run ball game after all 8 of CNU's runs have come these last 3 innings. We were scoreless 2 innings into this. All of a sudden, the offensive renaissance with a lot of home runs. That includes Bailey Roberts. She was guilty of a solo shot back in the 3rd inning. That gave CNU its current lead, breaking a 1-1 tie after Abernathy had tied up the ball game. The 2-1. And Baylor Roberts today, 2 for 3, home run, double. And that ball will get down. It's a 3-hit day for Roberts here in Salem. She's a triple shy of the cycle.
Just a well-batted ball from Roberts. Again, loving the fact that these players are not looking to overswing, choosing good pitches, capitalizing on the mistakes of the pitchers that they're facing on both sides of the ball.
So for CNU, remember Bianca Palmer-Scott came in to run. She has remained in the ball game as she shows signs interested in bunting. But with 2 outs, let's see what they have really in mind here with Roberts on first. And a fall in the circle for Martin. Not sure if she was possibly expecting a throw or just lost her footing. Puts it down. This is with 2 outs, and that's your inning. So CNU was determined to force WPI to get that final out. They do. And the Engineers will see a 7th inning, trailing by 2 here in the first day in Game 1. Top of the 7th inning. WPI, your designated visiting team for this first game, is the 8th seed against the number 1 seed CNU. As WPI down to its final 3 outs, need to score at least 2 to force CNU to come to the plate in the home half. Lincoln Rose, Cindy Gearbrack with you as your Stephanie Bishop. Started today as your DP. Currently finds herself in the outfield after the injury sustained earlier in this ball game by Sydney Russell, trying to track down a home run.
You see Bishop knows probably shouldn't have swung at that. Looks over at her coach, says, "Oh, that's me, coach."
Her teammates brought 7 bats to the plate last inning. And all of a sudden an 0-2 hole here for Bishop. Now remember, the secret to last inning was the first out immediately being recorded. And then the next 4 batters all produce runs. The 0-2 got a piece of it.
You see a ball fouled back like that, it's a good indicator to us and to the pitcher that your hitter is right on the ball. So wouldn't be surprised if we see an off-speed pitch here. Maybe something low and inside.
Not a lot of stress getting to the WPI dugout. They've been smiles the whole way. The 0-2. That one just sat up there, but popped up, squeezed in by Houle. 1 away.
Number 25, Trinity.
Mentioned the captains have conceded 8 runs dating back to their conference tournament, so this entire postseason. Ultimately, WPI has found 6 runs today alone. It won't be enough, as they have 2 outs to find a couple of runs. Trinity Gibbs, her second at bat now, in place of Sydney Russell here in the top of the order. Struck out looking her last time up. (0-2) offering off the mark. Again, for Heather Ross in her first year, her message has been the same coming in this week as it has for the past 3 weeks of the postseason. Just focus on how you play your best, which is executing those small details, staying in the present moment. But right now, the Engineers down to their final out.
And speaking of the present moment, really important, especially in these moments, these tournaments, especially at this point in the season. Taking a third strike, anything close, you got to be in the mindset that you're going up there to take advantage of every single pitch that you're given. Take your hacks. Good hitters do 3 things, Lincoln. They swing at strikes, and they have great timing.
I thought you were going to say they homer, they triple, they double.
They do that too.
No respect for the single. All right, 2 outs. Game on the line here. Alex Sheehan, 0 for 3 today against the 2 pitchers for CNU. And the count 1-1. And Jamie Martin at the moment would be your winning pitcher in relief of Kate Alger, who went the first 3. Alger was great, conceded 1 run. They'll be leaning on both these freshmen, including Martin, who again will likely find out shortly after this game that she's been named the NFCA National Freshman of the Year for Division III softball. A year in which she had her .95 ERA, going 19-1. They didn't hold that 1 loss against her.
They did not. And she'll break into the 20s.
1 strike away.
Column.
And not just yet. TLU and Barry are up next. Your 4 versus 5 seed matchup. That'll be about 22 minutes upon the conclusion of this one. Right back here on this field. 2 outs, nobody on for WPI, trailing by 2 in the top of the 7th. The 2-2 to Sheehan, and she'll keep this ball game going. 4-run inning in the 6th has made this interesting. If Sheehan can get on, all of a sudden the tying run comes to the plate. Martin trying to slam the door shut right here. Throw to first, and the ball game stays very much within reach of WPI. Tying run comes to the plate as Sheehan beats out the throw.
Sheehan doing just enough.
It's a single.
Bit of a rushed throw.
All right, so Salvalzo will come up. Has struck out and then walked twice today. Can she find her first hit? After Sheehan extended this ball game. Looking for a 2-out rally. Trying to avoid advancing into the elimination bracket tomorrow morning. The team that comes up short in this game will suit up again tomorrow for another 11 a.m. start. The team that wins is going to have a little over 24 hours off. They'll be back tomorrow afternoon in the winner's bracket. We'll have 2 elimination games followed by 2 winner's bracket contests tomorrow. Salvalzo at the plate with a 1-1 count, 2 outs. Represents the tying run here in the 7th. As Alex Sheehan's single, the 5th hit of the game for WPI, has extended this ball game. Up the middle. That one squeezed in. The captains of CNU are now 43-1 on the year. It's a 20-game win streak for the #1 seed as they hold off a gritty group of engineers of WPI who will turn right back around tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, and try to battle to extend their week here in Salem. For CNU, we'll see them tomorrow night in our 3rd matchup of the day.
A great effort by WPI, but we're seeing why the captains come in with that 42-win win streak, now 20-win win streak after today. And congratulations to Jamie Martin on being named the pitcher of the year, or player of the year.
National Freshman of the Year.
Freshman
now
of the
improves to 20-1. As the 20s are wild right now, a 20-game win streak along the way for CNU. For Sydney Gearbracht, I'm Lincoln Rose. Big thanks to our NCAA.com crew. We're going to do it 3 more times today. When you rejoin us in about 22 minutes, it'll be either TLU or Barry that faces CNU tomorrow. The loser of our next game will face WPI in the elimination contest.